Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's episode of Game Poke, the show where we cover random gaming related topics and talk a load of old bollocks. And today's bollocks is about the next model of Game Boy. For you see, we have covered the original Game Boy, we have covered the Game Boy Pocket, and last time we covered the Game Boy Color. So now it is time to finally cover the Game Boy Advance. And when we cover this wonderful thing, we shall also take a look at 5 games, completely random ones, and I will try to cover games that are not well known. I prefer to show you games that you might not have heard about. That way, if you enjoy the video, maybe it will be a game you want to seek out for yourself. So I won't be covering any Zeldas or Pokemons or fucking Marios or any of that, because you already know about them. So what's the point? Anyway, on to the Game Boy Advance. Now this here, believe it or not, is my original Game Boy Advance. I've just had to change the shell, and the buttons, and the screen. In fact, I haven't even taken the cellophane off of the new screen yet, so watch this. Oh yeah, that feels good. It's new. Brand fucking new. And in case you haven't figured it out, yes, the artwork on the shell is the face of a Venusaur, to go with the Pokemon theme of the screen, hence why there's a Pikachu, a Jigglypuff, a Togepi, and a Pokeball there at the top. And at long last, we have new buttons introduced to the mix for the Game Boy. We've got the L button and the R button. In short, this is the first Game Boy to have shoulder buttons. As you can see on the bottom of the console, the on button is to the left, and the volume and headphone jack are on the right. Aside from the fact that this handheld console feels really good, it does also look really good. The original shell I had for my one was the purple one you could get, but it got scratched to fuck, the screen got knackered, and one of the buttons would not stop getting jammed. I don't know why, but it was clearly time for a change. But while we now have widescreen and of course the graphics are improved, there's still no fucking backlight. Now obviously at the time when the Game Boy Advance first came out, you could deal with that. We had gotten used to it with the original Game Boy, the Game Boy Pocket, the Game Boy Color. We had gotten used to that, so it wasn't a big deal to put up with it again, because we had much better graphics this time, so we didn't care. Nowadays, no, can't stand it. And luckily, I don't have to, because this is not the Game Boy Advance I normally use. This is my custom, modded, all-round awesome Game Boy Advance. And to show you how awesome it is, look at the picture difference between these two consoles. Look at that. I mean, that just says it all. And to be fair, what you're seeing on camera really doesn't do it justice. So there you have it. That's the Game Boy Advance. This is my favourite one. Anyway, it's about time we moved on to the first of the 5 games. Now bear in mind, when I first got my Game Boy Advance, I was still used to the graphics from the Game Boy Color, like the graphics of Pokemon or Zelda. To me, that was as good as it got. But then I got my first true taste of what the Game Boy Advance can actually do, with Mech Platoon. Oh my! That was so fucking cool! To go from that kind of graphics to this kind of graphics blew my tiny mind. But without further ado, let's actually check out this game. The wise men say, there is no end to the truth. In this war-torn place, there are 2 things without end. The universe and greed. Glittering stars give the impression of eternal serenity, but the reality is that they hide a lie. Among them blazes an endless war over limited resources, skirmishes that grow, the universe expands. And there we are, story again with the graphics. That looks so cool! You just can't get enough of that. But anyway, this game, in essence, is like Command and Conquer. I love Command and Conquer. I love that kind of strategy game. But while there is a story to this, and a training, of course, the training doesn't take too long. You can get to grips with how this game works fairly quick. And I can't find anything that would be too difficult for anyone to just get used to. Yeah, you can't really just pick this game up and play it straight away like a platformer. You will have to give yourself like half hour to figure everything out, but then you'll be fine. It's not so complex that you're going to forget everything really quickly. But while the missions are dead fun, I used to just do the skirmishes because you can do your own custom levels. But before we get to that, I'd like to show you the armies, because unlike Command and Conquer where there's like, say, the Brotherhood of Nod and GDI, on this you had 3 main armies. So out of the 3 nations you can choose from, the first one is Leon. I think this is the one I used to have all the time, really. A nation of proud and skilled assassins. The Leon army is an unseen force in the universe. No one is immune from their long-range attacks. I'm pretty sure they're the one I used to use all the time. Then you have Trampler. This one I did play around with a bit. Comprised of highly mobile mercenaries, the Trampler army moves like a tempest, striking fast, striking hard, and leaving only ruin. They were pretty good. This one I didn't use so much, I just didn't get on with them. Minos. The allied army of Minos specialises in close-range combat and features heavy armour units. It is the toughest force in the universe. Yes, your units do have higher health and higher defence, but I don't think you get anyone with guns or projectiles for a while. I think you have units that just go up and like twat the enemy. So that's a bit annoying. Plus, oh my fuck, I remember the tanks being really slow. Doesn't seem to mention that here. Anyway, as I said, the main thing I used to do was go into the skirmishes. Make your own level. Obviously, this doesn't reflect on anything you do in the game. It's just a custom thing you've designed to have some fun with. Now, the further you've got in the story mode, the more shit you'll have available to play around with. So you really should do some of the story at least before you get onto this. And then here you have the multiplayer options. This is the really cool bit. You can change the colour of your units. Blue, red, green, yellow, purple, grey, brown, and a sort of teal colour. I think I'm going to make me yellow and the enemy grey. I used to always make the enemy grey. I don't know why. It's just like, in my younger imagination, it was like, my machines are alive. Those ones are not. They are the lifeless grey machines. Don't ask. It's got nothing to do with the game. That was my own poxy imagination at war with itself. You can also set the level. And of course you can pick from your maps. There's so many cool designs, but fuck it, we'll just go with this one. Now you start off with these little crane things. You want to get some of them going off to get resources, but you want at least one of them, I would recommend getting more to do this, but you want at least one of them to actually build the base, because the enemy will not piss about. They will build units as quick as they can and come and attack you. It is so much like Command and Conquer, but it's got that really cool like Nintendo music that reminds me of, I don't know, Master Blaster, Mega Man, something like that. It's just got that sort of feel to it. Graphically, it's just awesome. Obviously, it's nothing like that opening FMV, but it wasn't going to be, was it? That's just a little treat at the start. And the story obviously doesn't matter here in a skirmish, but I just love this game. I don't think there's a sequel to it, although I haven't looked in years. Maybe there is a sequel, or even if the sequel's under a different name, I gotta check that shit out. I have totally got to check that shit out. And as you can see here, an enemy is coming to us, coming towards our base. So the best thing for us to do is to send some units that way, just to intersect them sort of in the middle. And at the top there, it's got like the 3 main materials you need. I can't remember the names of them, but it's basically the rock, the sand, and the crystal shit that you see lying around. I can't recommend this game enough, but unfortunately, I can't talk about it all bloody day either, because I got another 4 games to talk about. So I'm gonna try and move along to the next game.
Densetsu no Staff E3.
Yes, it's a Japanese game, but Game Boy Advance is region free, so we don't have to give a shit about that. This game reminds me a lot of Kirby, I guess. It's got great colours, really cutesy little story characters. That's the only pisser though. There's a lot of story to this game. You can skip all of it though. None of it matters. I mean, it looks cool, but like, what the fuck's going on? The place is caving in. everyone's a star. So it's kind of like Rise Star meets Kirby, I guess. That's cool to think of. But again, who has a fucking clue what's happening? So you just skip the story, don't give a shit. But just look at that. It's graphically impressive from the get-go. Now, I will say at the start you get these little signposts that are tutorials. Again, you're thinking, oh, that's in Japanese, that's fucking useless to me. Don't worry, because it shows the buttons and the actions of what's being pressed. That's all you need to pay attention to. All of this writing shit doesn't matter. Alright, if you played games before, you can figure out what it's telling you to do. So we start off underwater. The whole game isn't like this, it's just this is where we are at the moment in some underwater stuff. That will change. Look at the graphics out there. That's just so Kirby-ish, isn't it? I don't know why we didn't get
Densetsu no Staff E3.
outside of Japan. I have no idea what the story is. I've never looked into it because I don't give a fuck. But this is just a good example of a game you can play and probably get quite cheap. Yeah, you'd probably also have to import it over, but I still don't think it would cost that much because people are put off a lot by Japanese games when they really shouldn't be. Especially like with shmups and stuff and platformers. Yeah, you can play them. RPGs? No, you can't play Japanese RPGs at all, obviously. It's quite an easy game as well. Anyone could pick this up. This is more of a visual treat and just a chill out game than it is anything challenging. Again, kind of like Kirby. That's the best thing to fucking describe it against, really. If you love Kirby, but you can't afford new Kirby, because Kirby games are fucking pricey for some reason, get
Densetsu no Staff E3.
I could go on, but it's just, look at it. It's a visual treat, it sounds good, and it plays good. Next game is one we're going to go over very quickly. It's Pocket Music. And straight away you're treated at the title screen. I mean, listen to this.
Hi, my name is Boo. My name is my name is Graham Brady. My name is
Did you ever think you would have Eminem or a remix of Eminem blasted at you for a fucking Game Boy? No. You never thought that was going to happen because it makes no sense. I used to love the music game on PS1. Me and my brother, we used to play that quite often. We would make our own songs. I honestly blame that fucking game for the fact that years and years later I would try making my own music with black metal, industrial black metal. I wanted to take that raw sound, edit the fuck out of it, try and make something cool, and I blame that game. I really do. Fucking thing. But this Pocket one, it filled a void because as a kid I couldn't play any instruments. Not really, I was only learning guitar at the time, so believe it or not, I sucked more then than I do now. That's awesome. But I thought I would make an ass of myself today rather than show you how to make music on that, because I would probably bore the piss out of you showing what a note does and stuff. I'll just go and load an old track. This is going to be sad. This is my attempt at making music from when I was younger. And I know it's going to suck. So obviously, before we start, all of the little squares are different musical sounds. See the ones that are like guitar heads? They're not necessarily all the same like riff or sound, nor are all the weird circle ones all the same. It's just they have the same symbol. Without further ado, let's go. Let's pick another one. I can't remember what songs I liked and what were shit, so we're just gonna go with this one. with that, I think I've embarrassed myself enough with what I once thought was decent music. I genuinely thought I was making cool stuff. If you think you can do better than me, seek out this game. It's probably dirt cheap considering what it is. But yeah, I thought no one talks about this fucking game. Could be a reason. But now you can judge for yourself. Next game we're going to check out is Sonic Battle. But we're going to play it here on a multi-cart that also includes Sonic Advance. Just to be clear, we're not checking out Sonic Advance today. I consider that to be a more well-known Game Boy Advance game, so you're not really going to learn anything today by checking that one out. But Sonic Battle, not many people have tried that one. Now just have a look at these fucking graphics. Even the title screen there is truly awesome. Yeah, you gotta love it. We're not going to check out story mode today though. I'll leave that for you in case you want to try this out yourself. Won't ruin anything. This is basically a free-for-all fighting game. So I'm gonna just pick Sonic and a bunch of randos. I don't know who that robot is. No, I've forgotten who that is. It's obviously someone important, but I don't know. You know, the background, the level reminds me a little bit of what do you call it? Final Fantasy Tactics. It just looks like that. Won't lie, don't remember the controls. Don't remember the buttons. I have no idea how to do a goddamn thing, so I'm just rushing into it, giving it my all. I wish there would be another modern Sonic game like this. With all of the Sega characters. Can you imagine like a Super Smash Brothers Sega version? That would be the tits. It's graphically appealing, the music is good, and it just feels good to beat the shit out of whoever you're fighting. In terms of fighting games on the Game Boy Advance, you've got your Street Fighters, you've got your Mortal Kombats, you've got all of that shit. But it's nice to mix it up a bit. I highly recommend this game. There's not much more I can say about it because at its heart it is simple. It's just a fighting game. The story, as I say, I will leave that for you to check out though. Although I do highly recommend that you do check it out because there's not another Sonic game like this, to my knowledge. Yeah, there's that other fighting game. Crap. I did a video of that years ago. Sonic Fighters, I think it was just called. That's a terrible game. It's got bark in it. Fucking weirdo polar bear dog thing. But there you have it. Sonic Battle. You gotta try it. You just gotta try it. And the last game for today is Advance Wars. Once again, awesome opening screen. A lot like Mech Platoon, but very different in style. This is more anime-ish. This game's probably... it might be the most well-known of all the games we've talked about today. At least I think it is. But it seems like the franchise has died, so some younger people out there might not be aware of this. So I think it's worth talking about just for that. The only pisser that I can think of is that you have to go through a lot of training to do this game. You definitely cannot just pick it up and play. With Mech Platoon, you can pick it up, you can learn fucking everything in under a half hour, maybe even under 15 minutes if you're good, and then you're good to go. It's just all about your skill. With Advance Wars, there is a lot to remember. There's a lot of detail. It's a fairly complex game. Is in depth though, so you're not going to be left going, wait, what? I don't get it. Oh no, I suck. You will get it. You will get the grips with it, but it's going to take time. That's the only thing I can see putting people off of trying it, is that you really got to give it that time. But the gameplay is incredible. It's so much fucking fun. It's like Command & Conquer meets Valkyria Chronicles. I shit you not, that is what it is like. The music is fantastic, the story is fantastic, the gameplay is fantastic. But if you just look at these scenes when you're fighting an enemy, when you reach them and go into direct combat, there's a hell of a lot of stats involved. It's like air units over ground units, but some anti-air units are good against them air units, but they're weak against ground units. It's kind of like the whole Pokemon thing with fire over plant, plant over water, water over fire. It all goes round, but in a much bigger thing than just a 3-point fucking triangle. As I say, complicated, but I can't recommend it enough. There are other Advance Wars games out there. There's ones on the DS. I think that's where the franchise came to a stop. I think. I haven't tried them Advance Wars games on the DS. This is the only one I have. But everyone says this is the best one. So I guess this is the best one to recommend to you. You should definitely try it out. I don't know how much it costs though. I haven't checked because I don't check the prices of games I already have. Maybe you could fucking emulate it if you like that shit. I found out about the game from Gaming Historian. He did an interview once. It was on a podcast. I think it was called Final Games. And he was saying how if he was stuck on a desert island and he could only have 8 games with him, ignoring the whole you'd have to have this console, electricity, blah, 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 blah. What games would you have? This was one of them. He said he would have to have Advance Wars. And I remember thinking, never heard of it. I need to check that out. So I bought this copy, and yeah, I fell in love with it, but not right away. Because I am an impatient person, and it did take me a while to get through that fucking field training. When you get through that, it is so rewarding, but you gotta do that first. That's the only pisser. So there we have it. There are our 5 games, and that was the Game Boy Advance. What do you think of the console? Ignoring the revisions with the SP and Micro, maybe one day I'll do separate videos for them. I haven't decided. The good thing is if I do, I can do another 5 videos, another 5 games for each one. And I will try to make them random and lesser known ones like the ones of today. So anyway, Game Boy Advance. Do you still have yours? Did you ever own one? What do you think of my rigged one, eh? It's pretty cool, isn't it? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please check out the other Game Boy reviews I've done on the original Game Boy, Game Boy Pocket, and Game Boy Color. I will have links to those videos in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please click like, please comment, please subscribe, and I will see you next time.